welcome to this edition of Tips and Tricks. Now today I'm going to be talking about getting bass to bite. I'm out a lot, I fish a lot, I fish from shore, I don't fish from a boat. I meet a lot of fishermen. A lot of fishermen in a lot of different situations and in a lot of different lakes. And well, all this stuff sort of leads me to these tips and tricks because I sort of kind of come up with ideas through situations and everything. And so that's kind of where this one came about, was getting bass to bite. And the end of that is, or the whole sort of thing about this is, getting bass to bite is the hardest thing. Losing bass is the easiest thing. Now you might wonder why that is actually important. Well, it's important because the whole name of the game when you're bass fishing is to get bass to bite. And a lot of these people that I meet in that, they're new to bass fishing, they're just starting out, or even maybe people that have been fishing for a while. And I might encounter them at the same lake I'm in, fishing the same general area. And you know, I might have caught 2 fish, but I only got 2 bites. And I talked to them and they're like, oh, I got like 10, 11 bites. I hooked a couple, they got off. But yeah, I haven't caught any yet. I don't know, I'm not doing very well. And on my end, I'm going, what do you mean you're not doing well? I've tried everything I can in my 40 years of experience. And I managed 2 bites. Yes, I hooked both of them and I got them in. But the fact that you got like 10 or 15 bites on whatever you're doing better than me. I mean, yeah, you might have hooked a couple and they got off, or, you know, missed them, but that's something that needs to come later when you're bass fishing and learning to bass fish. The first and the most important thing is getting bass to bite. Focus on getting bass to bite. Maybe missing them or hooking them and having them getting off. That's something that's going to come later on. That's what the whole learning process is about. Because getting bass to bite is actually the hardest thing. I mean, a lot of people go out and they'll fish for a whole day and not get a single bite. Even me, with my experience. If it's tough conditions or I'm just, for some reason, not on that day and I don't know, just skip something or didn't notice something, I can go a day without even getting a freaking single bite. I mean, I'd be much happier going out on a day of fishing and get like 20 bites and hook some of them and have them get off than if I got 1 bite and it was a 6-pounder. If I threw something, I got 1 bite, it was a 6-pounder, and that was the only bite I got all day, I'd be kind of upset. Most people would be like, oh my God, yeah, I only caught 1 fish, but it was a 6-pounder. Oh my God, it was such a great day. And I'd be like, no, I'd be upset at myself, because if I catch 1 fish and it's a 6-pounder and then that was the only bite I got all day, I'd be like, how come, I mean, obviously there was a big fish willing to bite. How come I couldn't figure it out? How come I couldn't have caught, you know, 10 or 15 fish today and one of them be a 6-pounder? But that's just sort of what I do in these tips and tricks and in my videos, is trying to get people to focus on the fact that getting them to hit is the hardest part. And losing them is the easiest part. You want to focus on consistently being able to figure out those fish in that certain situation, and get bites. And a lot of it might be, you know, it's a new technique to you. You don't know if you're fishing it right. You don't know really if it's a jig or if it's a spinnerbait or if it's a crankbait or it's a topwater or it's a frog or whatever technique you are using at the time. You need to fish it until you start getting bites on it. If you fish it a lot, and like I said, when I'm out, I hear something like, oh, I don't fish jigs much, I fish it. I get bites here and there, but every time I hook them, they get off. So, I mean, I don't know. I mean, I tried it, but I'm just going to stick with this and that. No, I mean, if you're learning the bait and you're working it well and you're getting a lot of bites, even if you're not hooking them. I mean, there's so other factors into that. It could be the rod you're using, could use, you know, the line you're using, could be setting the hook too early, or or waiting too long or not letting them load up. But you're on your way, because getting them to bite is in fact the hardest thing. And losing them is the easiest. When you first start out bass fishing or you're just starting to get into it, focus on figuring out how to get bass to bite. Don't worry about the fact that you might give them a bite and you miss them, or you get them hooked and they jump off, or they're hooked for a second and you get off. That means you're on the right path. You're on to something. You've figured out, you know how to work that bait right. You know where to fish it, where to position it, all the other stuff. Don't worry about the fact that those fish might be getting off and you're missing it. Because that's how you learn. That's how you become better and better at bass fishing. I mean, like I said, for me, 40 years, I've been through that, through all kinds of baits, like frog bait and walk the dog bait and crankbaits and jitter jigs, and even to the drop shot and to the flicking and to jigs. I spent a lot of time learning those lures and not getting bites. And then suddenly I learned a little bit better, learned how to work them more, maybe matching the color to a certain situation, something like that. Suddenly I started getting more bites, but I would miss them a lot. But it was like, once that happened, it's like that light should go on and go, okay, I know how to work this drop shot. I know how to work this crankbait. I'm getting bites. I'm getting hits. Now I need to focus on what I'm doing wrong for the fact that a lot of them are getting off or whatever. And like I said, that could be, that could be the rod, that could be the line, that could be the way you're setting the hook, all that other sort of stuff. But that stuff comes more and more with time. The hardest thing is actually going out and bass fishing and learning how to actually get fish to bite your lure. And in whatever lure it is, in whatever situation, is getting those bites. Because a lot of people when they first start, or they've been doing it for years, but they're just a once in a while type fishermen, they just get frustrated because they don't spend the time to learn the bait and how to work the bait. So they will go out all day and throw around and not even get a bite, not even miss a fish, or not even catch fish. And they might do this for 4 or 5 days in a row. So what you need to do is if you know the technique and you've seen it, or you watch one of my videos and you fish the same lake and you know technique, and you're fishing in the same area I am, and you're not getting any bites, that's not a good thing. You need to focus on, okay, well, I know this thing works, it's the same color, I've seen him. I need to learn how to use it in a way that I always get bites. Even if I miss them. Even if I get 30 bites in a day and I don't catch any of them. I could have just had a bad day, they could have just been hitting funny. But I can talk to somebody on the same lake that went out and went, dude, I got like 2 bites all day. And I'm like, really? Wow, I had tons and tons of bites, but for some reason I just couldn't hook them. So that's the focus of this. And I said that a lot of this and my tips and tricks and my biology bites comes about situations and meeting people and me going over it and me sort of analyzing it and figuring out some way that I can produce a video like this for you guys that might help you become a better bass fisherman. I fish to advance people's fishing, and I fish to learn and teach people what I've learned. So that's where this sort of thing comes from. These tips and tricks. I know that's kind of off subject at the end about this, but that's why I'm here, guys. That's why I try. But this is something I noticed, that the hardest thing is getting a bite. The easiest thing is losing them. So focus on always being able to get bites, and then the losing them thing will probably become less and less of an issue. I hope this helps. Until next time.